New Cycle is a Frostpunk-ian city builder with choices that matter, set in a post-apocalyptic world where, expectedly, you need to start from scratch to save your little band of survivors. How does it do at this job? Watch on and find out.
My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play.
Another day, another city builder. This time we're looking at New Cycle by Core Engage. I've got just under 8 hours in this game. I played this game in March of 2025, so there may have been updates since then. You can bet when I see a city builder that I am probably going to want to try it out. I had already played and reviewed Endzone, so another post-apocalyptic builder seemed in order. Note that Endzone 2 is on my to-do list, so if you want to see that sooner rather than later, let me know. Anyway, back to the game at hand, New Cycle. New Cycle on its surface seems to have a lot of the things that I like in a builder-type game. It's not just a plop zones down and watch things happen builder like Cities Skylines is. Rather, it's a place where you can build individual building types, including residences, and manage your supply lines kind of game. You know I like these types of resource transformation supply line things, so it seemed like it should be right up my alley. As with many of these types of games, you have very limited access to structures when you get started, but you also have to deal with worker management too. Many of the production buildings require workers to, work in them. And if you don't fill them to their capacity of workers, they understandably don't produce everything they could. You need wood and stone for early structures, and later you need iron, tin, bronze, steel, glass, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure why it is with all of these post-apocalyptic games that you have always also lost all of the collective knowledge of humanity, but so it is with New Cycle, and you have to research technology that humanity lost in the fall. There are a number of different resource types that are all required to unlock various technologies, and, frankly, it's one of the pain points I found with the game. Your people collectively generate knowledge points, but you also need paper and then sometimes raw materials too in order to unlock a technology. You sometimes end up balancing constructing that building you really need to keep the supply lines humming and unlocking a new technology. Many of the expected supply lines are there. Wood is turned into lumber, sand is turned into glass, iron ore is turned into iron ingots, and so on and so forth. Tools need wood and ingots, soup needs meat and water, you know the drill. I do think that the balance on these things is a little off right now because some of these situations really slow the game down. As one example, you need tin ore to make tin ingots, but also bronze ingots, which I guess is chemically correct, but for whatever reason, tin is produced at a way lower rate than the other ores, and it takes an awful lot of workers to mine anything. That also brings me to another annoying mechanic with respect to mining. You do have these resource layers that indicates via colors, but also icons, where resources may lie. Water is pretty obvious, but mines have this annoying extra tidbit. First, you have to drag the construction placement of mines around to see what deposits the mine could connect to, but you can't see those deposits directly in the mine view like you can see water in that view. So you slide your little tentative mine area around until it connects with a bunch of literal question-marked resources. Then you have to spend a ton of stone and other stuff to analyze the deposit after you've built this mine, and that mine also costs a bunch of resources to build. Once you've analyzed that deposit, you may discover that you didn't need it. I ended up building 4 or 5 mine sites and having to analyze a dozen ore deposits or so before I uncovered the one thing that I really needed: coal. As might be expected with a city builder, power and road management do come into play. I noticed that villagers would happily ignore roads in favor of slowly walking in the dirt, which seemed odd, and occasionally the road network would get borked and you would have to rebuild some roads that were already there. But you could do this for free just by dragging a new road over the existing road. You could build more windmills to make power, and they don't require people to operate, but coal plants generate a ton more power, but also require people. Speaking of people, there are a few classes of citizens, each with their own needs. This shouldn't come as a surprise in this type of game, but when it comes to the whole Frostpunk-ian choices matter bit, each of those choices may permanently affect the workforce rating of a particular type of citizen. In my case, I made a bunch of pro-worker choices, which resulted in my craftsman class getting a lot of negative penalties to the workforce score. This meant that upgrading an iron smelter to a higher level workshop actually didn't buy me a ton of productivity because craftsmen were so unproductive. In fact, just equipping the required craftsman quantity resulted in no production at all, and I still needed to add regular workers to get anything out of the building. Blah. There's this whole regional overview where you can send scouts out to find more about the surrounding area and potentially uncover resources that can also be exploited. But looking at the simple math on how many tin rations are required and how many workers and the production that you get from these remote locations, it didn't really look like all that great of an investment. Certainly not in the early game.
Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict.
This game looks quite nice, and it really does have quite a lot of moving parts that are mostly well put together. While it is in early access and the devs are actively soliciting feedback and making changes, it still seems to me like the balance is a little off on some things, and the game started to feel quite grindy at times. I often was just making a few decisions on pause and then setting the time acceleration to maximum and watching paint dry while some building got built or I waited for some more villagers to show up. On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I made a lot of mead and simple soups and almost got to the point of making bread, but I started to get bored with all of the waiting around, so meh. If the devs improve the balance on this one and tweak some of the things, I think that this will be a really solid title, but it could pay to wait just a little bit longer before committing your bucks. In the meantime, I think I'll go sample some mead from my own selection. And yes, I actually do have some mead on hand.